Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your great support always. I'm so grateful for your continued support to this channel. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Wamuchomba decided that she was going to expose literally whatever is happening in terms of these politicians. Wamuchomba is now leaking, saying that you see all these members of parliament, they usually receive calls left, right, center, giving them directions on how to legislate or how to do whatever is favoring some individuals in certain corners. For example, look at the issue of the finance bill. Wamuchomba is saying there was directions where members of parliament were of course called by either William Ruto or Raila Odinga to either oppose or to propose the finance bill. As if the finance bill is not enough, during the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, these members of parliament were carried like a tissue paper. In other words, William Ruto used them to fulfill his task by removing Rigathi Gachagua, these members of parliament. So Wamuchomba is coming out, blowing up. I want you to listen to her. But before we listen to her, as you always do, ensure you like the video. When you like the video, you automatically support the work that I'm doing in this channel, because sometimes you watch and you forget liking the video. So this is just a reminder. Please, as you watch, consider liking the video. Thank you so much. Let us watch.
Look, we are having this conversation. The political class is speaking, reconciling, but at the same time, Kenyans are still facing challenges. What more must we see from the political leaders?
First of all, I want to clear my name from the allegations that have been put on me, on my image and my name, by my colleague Mheshimiwa Mark Nyamita. He said that I'm the one who carries the briefcase, Rigathi Gachagua's briefcase. I just want to remind him that Rigathi Gachagua does not require to carry any briefcase because he is no longer in office. And therefore, I would want you to maybe substantiate what you meant by that briefcase, because there are no more files to be carried. And I'm sure you did what you did to impeach him. I saw you celebrate very heavily in Parliament after you impeached him. You know, there is an escape route for politicians whenever politicians and the ruling class are not able to deliver the promises that they made during campaigns. The alternative route is called escapism politics, where you escape what people expect from you and bring other shenanigans and theatrics, so that people can you can move people's attention from the main issue to non-issues. When you see the President of the Republic of Kenya, the symbol of unity, stand in public on a microphone publicly and reflects and shows off, manifests his anger and frustration to the people he's speaking to, in the name of unity, but inciting the same people he's trying to preach unity to against another community. When you see the president in his entourage, young parliamentarians like myself stand in front of him and utter utterances that depicts isolation of one community versus other communities. When you hear the president himself use words that are unpalatable in public at the glare of the cameras, that tells you that that is a system that has failed, are aware that they have failed, and all now they are doing is to bring other to capture people's emotions on tribal lines, ethnic lines, to the extent of even ethnic profiling. When you start telling people that this community has been at it for 8 years, this community is not the right community being in State House, this community hates, dislikes, such words in public, that tells you that this is a system that has failed, a regime that has lost it, attacked health system, crushed it, attacked education system, crushed it, attacked our national budget, crushed it, attacked our manufacturing sector, crushed it. This is a system that is now thriving on whipping emotions along tribal lines. And I heard Madam Jane say that what happened in Kirinyaga was for political benefits.
I didn't say for political benefit, I'd say it could be.
It could be. If it was for political benefits, we would have had Mother Karua and Rigathi Gachagua talk about themselves and their parties and what they are doing. But they spoke about our children who are being abducted. They spoke about the economy that is on its knees. They talked about undelivered promises. They never spoke about themselves. And that is why I was comfortable in that meeting. If they started talking about political parties, you know me, I would have said no. But they spoke about the issues Kenyans want to hear because Kenyans are frustrated. And I support my brother David Ocheng has just said it. Why is Rigathi Gachagua all of a sudden becoming very relevant? Why is all of a sudden Rigathi Gachagua being celebrated? Why is he back on our newspapers headline every day? It is because whatever he is talking about now is what Kenyans want said. Nobody is saying that this government is killing our children. Nobody is saying that this government has raped its own economy. Nobody is saying that this government has actually overborrowed and overburdened this country to the next 30 years. We are going to be slaves of its own borrowing.
But they are challenging.
So, on the other side, some members of parliament, bigger percentage of them, they're coming out to say that their decision was independent. No one called them. It was an independent decision that was made by them. But now, Kenyans, the Honorable Member of Parliament of Ugenya, David Ocheng, is coming out agreeing with Gathoni Wamuchomba that calls were made left, right, center for certain decisions. And so any member of parliament who is coming out to say that he or she was independent was a lie. And even you can see how the interest of the people is not more important to them. And what they are doing now is to serve the interest of someone. So David Ocheng decided to say this.
So David Ocheng,
Are you trying to tell us you live in there?
Gathoni Wamuchomba made an allegation. Sort of you belong in a cage. You receive calls to vote in certain decisions. So how many calls have you received?
Some, you know, I started coming to this show so many years ago.
Yeah.
And for example, on Gachagua,
Yeah.
I started talking about Gachagua's removal 1 year before he was removed. You and I severally used to cringe at some of the statements he would make about shares and all that. So he was removed in the right manner. And around that period, and you know, I've told you, I never like people trying to be Puritan, you know. Around Gachagua's impeachment, there were calls across the board. Wamuchomba was sitting with Gachagua calling people, Ruto was sitting with people calling people. It's normal, it's political. That is what happened in those situations.
So calls were made?
Yeah, I mean, people were being called all over the place. So let's not...
There's a high chance that every member of parliament sitting here in studio was actually called.
I mean, I don't know that no one called me personally, but I would imagine that period, and I'm a politician myself, if you want a solution, I mean, if you want a vote to go a particular manner, Sam, it's what happened in the parliament. So let no one say he was not called. Polls were coming from both sides to members of parliament. Please help save Gachagua. Oh, please remove him. Okay. So let's not, you know, have these issues about being called is a wrong thing. Number two.
The scenario that is going to come, Kenyans, is a scenario where people against these members of parliament is going to be so lethal. And because we are having members of parliament who think like they are now more powerful than this common mwananchi who elected them in those positions. So for me, I think for what we must understand is that we don't have members of parliament. These are just examples. Because they are being carried like tissue paper. They are being swayed to serve someone's interest. But for them, they have forgotten the reason why they were installed in those positions. Some members of parliament, they have even forgotten their constituencies. In fact, earlier on, Kimani Ichung'wah advised these members of parliament in a certain parliament session that if they're feeling like they're being threatened by the people, it is now their time to make money, so that in future, if they are going to be kicked out, they have money. And I'm going to tell you here, without any avoidance of doubt, the crackdown that is going to come come 2027, I'm seeing several members of parliament not going to survive, starting with these members of parliament from UDA party. So I think for me, I agree with what Gathoni Wamuchomba. I know everyone will not agree with Gathoni Wamuchomba. And my agreement with Gathoni Wamuchomba is, number one, these members of parliament are being carried like a tissue paper. Number two, they must receive calls so that they can do certain task. Without any call, they're just there. In abnoa stupu. 13th parliament is the parliament that we will regret forever and ever. Because we are having members of parliament there that behave as if their minds, they left outside the gate of parliament. It is so bad. And again, that they're busy serving the interest of the people. Whose interest are you serving? Ladies and gentlemen, drop your opinion at the comment section below. Otherwise, thank you so much because of your great support. Please consider subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this video. Bye bye till we meet in another video.